The council school's young lady, willow-like Grace, and the campus belle bet with each other, betting on who could conquer me, a poor wretch, first. They pretended to be deeply affectionate, launching a grand pursuit of me, waiting until I was completely entrapped, offering my first kiss and even my sincere heart. They cruelly exposed the truth that besides me, the entire school knew this conquest was being live-streamed. A country bumpkin, truly thinking that a rich young lady would like him. I was like a drenched dog, enduring mockery and isolation from all teachers and students. In a state of mental panic, I unfortunately fell into the water, died tragically. When I opened my eyes again, I returned to the day the live conquest began. After school ended, I was blocked at the corner of the stairs. Council school young lady, willow-like Grace, tilted her chin, looking at me with eyes full of implication. Outstanding student. Heard that in this month's exam you ranked at the bottom again. Willow-like Grace is the only daughter of the Willow family in Golden City, raised with a golden spoon since childhood, the biggest sponsor of the Noble Academy England effort. The Willow family always stands out in the business world. Online rumors even say they have some red connections. In my previous life, Willow-like Grace wanted me to help her cheat in the monthly exam. I refused. Afterward, she scored only 2 digits in total. Scolded harshly by Mother Willow, Willow-like Grace blamed everything on me. So she came up with a malicious prank. She and her best friend, campus belle Deep Grace, initial bet, betting on who could conquer me, a poor student, first. Deep Grace initial gained control of the school's cameras, live streaming this conquest on the school forum. To add more excitement, Willow-like Grace even organized a Haleschool poll, betting on when I would offer my first kiss to one of them and at what time. In the end, the entire prize pool from the live stream would belong to the one who guessed most accurately, the charming young lady Willow-like Grace. The cold and stunning campus belle Deep Grace initial, along with the enormous prize money. This live stream caused an uproar throughout Noble Academy England effort. After all, I was just an inexperienced high school boy. How could I resist to prestigious young ladies with their grand romantic pursuit? After I agreed to Deep Grace initial's confession, Willow-like Grace, losing the bet, turned purple with anger. She cruelly exposed the truth to me. You wouldn't expect it. This was just a love conquest game. Moreover, it was live-streamed. Outstanding student. I think you're quite the narcissist. You didn't really think. How could it be? A country bumpkin like you being liked. From then on, I became the biggest joke in the whole school. In their eyes, my initial cold attitude was being ungrateful. My midway softening was fake. My final emotional stirring was self-debasement. Delusional dreams. Everyone mocked my stupidity. My grades plummeted without breaks. In the final exam, I fell out of the top 50 in the grade. My scholarship was cancelled. My family thus bore debts. My parents on the way to extra work to earn tuition, met a car accident and passed away. Under multiple shocks, mentally panicked, I slipped and fell into the swimming pool. I drowned in the winter of 11th grade. Afterward, the school attributed my death to study pressure. Self-punished with a cup and lightly let it pass. Willow-like Grace was shocked, sent abroad. Later, she lived in illusions. Boyfriends beside her changed constantly. Only heard that each of her boyfriends had some resemblance to me in eyebrows and eyes. As for Deep Grace initial, upon growing up inherited the company, became famous through multiple donations to poor mountain areas, a charitable female entrepreneur. In the end, she married a rich man from rural origins. At the wedding, she gently looked at the groom, saying that he made her regain the feeling of first love, the feeling like being with her childhood sweetheart. Hey, river god, aren't you listening to me? Willow-like Grace reached out and waved in front of me, her bright eyes as if able to see through people's hearts when staring at someone, easily making one think of a female leopard. I knew the live conquest stream had begun. The school forum was full of comments flying by. What luck does this outstanding guy have? Council school young lady and campus belle both pursuing him. I bet my week's pocket money. In this hunt, the campus belle wins absolutely. Who could refuse the cold goddess? Then I bet on the spoiled young lady from the Willow family. This guy likes the arrogant type. Willow like Grace took a deep breath, suppressing her hot temper, repeating, I said this time I'm here to give you a chance to earn money. Heard your family is in the countryside. Surely very short on money, right? Come to my house to tutor. 1,000 per session, how about it? I didn't show any trace, glanced at the camera in the stair corner, then bowed my head and said, Willow like Grace, thank you for your kindness, but I already have plans for the weekend. On the weekend I stepped out of the school gate, tittied my clothes. I looked up at myself in the mirror, thin, reserved, pale skin, the whole face due to lack of expression, even somewhat bland. My biggest advantage on the face was the eyes behind the black glasses. Of course, I could remove the glasses right now, change part of the scenery, but actively changing, how could it compare to letting them discover it themselves? To make a deeper impression, I knew even if this time I didn't fall into the trap, Willow like Grace, they would still think of new pranks to tease me. With my current abilities, impossible to confront to sky-high powerful foes, but at least in this life, I already grasped their methods clearly. Wasn't it just acting? Who doesn't know how to act? I lowered my eyes, walking toward the flower shop in Peace City. Students at Noble Academy England effort are mostly rich or noble. For reputation, the school admits a few outstanding excellent students each year. Besides good grades, the characteristic of outstanding students is being poor. If not poor, wouldn't need the scholarship to enter this unsuitable noble school. As long as I maintain top 10 in the grade, not only tuition waived, each month also 5,000 scholarship, since enrollment, if never ranked outside first place. So I'm used to sending the scholarship home, then doing part-time to earn living expenses. Before entering the flower shop, I already heard Deep's excited voice, River God. Today there's a big order. On his phone screen appeared a flower delivery order. 9,999 Freud roses. The customer specially requested. Must be premium flowers from Ecuador. Deep beaming, this order earns at least 5 figures. In my previous life, Willow like Grace to force me to agree to tutor easily ruined my part-time job at the flower shop. She threw money like water, pre-ordering large quantities of Freud roses, waiting until deep and I ran all over the city to gather enough. Only received Willow like Grace's casual words. Bored now, this young lady doesn't want them anymore. The Willow family's influence overwhelming. No one in the city dared to sue. Only had to bear the huge loss from the deposit. Deep originally to escape her abusive husband, came here to open the shop. After this incident, she closed the flower shop, helplessly returned to the countryside with her husband. Seeing my bad mood, Deep puzzled, River God, what's wrong? I shook my head. Deep. This order has something off. Don't rush to get rich. Though Deep hesitated, but under my insistence, she temporarily gave up large-scale stocking, agreed to extend time for consideration. The following week, I no longer went to the library for self-study, but after class hit straight back to the dorm, making it impossible for Willow like Grace to meet me. The conquest just started, already progressing slowly. Willow like Grace's irritation clear on her face. As I predicted, less than a week she couldn't stand it. Saturday, Deep napping in the warehouse, leaving me alone to watch the shop. I just finished a test paper, glanced and saw a familiar petite figure passing by outside the flower shop. I immediately recognized the opportunity had come. At the same time, Deep's phone on the cashier counter rang. I didn't hesitate to answer. Less than 10 minutes later, a bald, beer-bellied man stormed aggressively into the flower shop. Boom, he kicked the door open. Rough voice shouting, Deep Flame, where's that bitch? Deep awakened, lazily walked out from the warehouse. Upon seeing the man, she immediately showed fear. How did he find here? The bald man snorted coldly, stepped forward to grab Deep's hair. I quickly blocked in front of her, loudly questioned, who are you? What are you going to do? The bald man sneered, who am I? I'm her husband. Beating my wife is heaven's permission. If you don't get out, I'll beat you too. I trembled and shouted, domestic violence is illegal. If you don't leave, I'll call the police. The bald man laughed mockingly, swung his hand, pushing me to the ground. I rolled and fell in front of the flower shop. Glasses also knocked off. My knee hit the threshold, pain making my whole body curl up. I lowered my eyelids, but the corner of my mouth slightly curved in an imperceptible smile. I didn't see wrong. The figure outside the flower shop just now was none other than Willow like Grace. I knew! Willow like Grace's live camera attached to her collar. That was high-end goods, both image and sound quality top-notch. The commotion just now was so loud. Whether Willow like Grace or the live audience, surely all saw me and deep being bullied. I understood Willow like Grace too well. As the Willow family's little princess, she was always wayward, disregarding rules, hyperactive since childhood, strength greater than ordinary girls. Under the Willow family's boundless pampering, she even became the female overlord of Noble Academy England effort. Whether for the conquest, or due to her impulsive hot temper, she would definitely step in. This familiar seeing injustice and helping play had reached this act. Next was the heroine's stage entrance. As expected, the next second I saw someone step over the threshold, entering the flower shop. Before everyone could react, Willow like Grace had rushed into fighting the bald man. Forum comments exploded. She just charged in like that. Who doesn't know? The Willow family's little princess is a black belt 9th Dan master. So cool! The prize money in the live room had surged to 174 million, and still rising. The final winner will be blessed. Though Willow like Grace had learned karate, but the bald man was tall and fat, body nearly double hers. At first, Willow like Grace relied on fighting skills to temporarily gain upper hand. But then the bald man used his weight advantage, exploiting an opening, pinning Willow like Grace underneath. In the chaotic flower shop, the bald man with red eyes pinned Willow like Grace, choking her neck tightly. He spat saliva at Willow like Grace, mouth cursing, "Bitch, let me teach you how to behave." Willow like Grace's petite face flushed red from choking, still struggling desperately. Right before the moment she was about to suffocate, I picked up a glass flower vase, smashed it hard on the bald man's nape. Boom, the bald man's body froze, then collapsed with a thud. Willow like Grace took a few breaths, then mustered strength to kick away that fat body. She angrily sat up, but upon seeing the scene before her, her eyes widened in shock. In Willow like Grace's amber eyes reflected my backlit figure standing, a thin teenager holding a vase, full of wounds but still standing firm. She just opened her mouth. The vase in my hand fell to the ground, making a crisp ringing sound. I couldn't support my injured legs, falling powerlessly. Willow like Grace instinctively reached out to catch me. When embracing, I heard the intense heartbeat, like drumming in her chest. Suspension bridge effect. Only when people experience stimulating situations, causing rapid heartbeat, possibly mistakenly attributing this physiological reaction to love. The scene just now. This was the play I meticulously designed for Willow like Grace. The impulsive, arrogant girl wanted to save someone from the brink of death, but at the final moment accidentally saved by another. Every expression, every action, I had rehearsed in my mind 10,000 times. Hearing her hurried heartbeat, I trembled with excitement, while Willow like Grace flusteredly held my shoulders, rarely clumsily whispering just now, "Thank you." The bald man that is Deep's husband, for intentional injury, was taken to the police station. Though domestic violence cases are often lightly punished, but this time the injured was Willow like Grace. With the Willow little princess vengeful personality, the bald man surely won't get out for a long time. Deep thanked Willow like Grace 1,000 times, even praised her as a good youth of the new era. As the council school young lady, Willow like Grace from childhood only used to causing trouble. When had she been praised for heroic actions? She touched the scratch on her nose bridge, cheeks showing to suspicious red streaks. No big deal, I originally just came to visit River God. Didn't expect to encounter this. No need to thank this young lady. After all, it was just convenient to thank Willow like Grace. I proactively offered to tutor her on the weekend. She was clearly very pleased. but still tilted her chin, acting arrogant. Next Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock. Come to my private villa. And your broken glasses, if ruined, don't wear them anymore. Looking at them is annoying. On the weekend in the study of Willow like Grace's private villa, I was tutoring her in math. In my previous life, right when I agreed to tutor Willow like Grace, I discovered the truth about the flower shop closing. She and I had a big argument. The tutoring also unhappily dissolved. But in this life, I decided to take the tutoring seriously. After a few problems, the Willow family eldest Miss eyes became bright. Seeing her bite the pen, dazedly looking at the first fill in the blank, I silently sighed. Live comments started gloating. Council school young lady surely regrets the tutoring. Self-inflicted, haha. Can't bear to watch just now, she several times. Wanted to chat with the outstanding student. Result he ignored. Only focused on explaining. Only I think River God explains well. Profound yet easy to understand. I'm a math idiot and still get it. At the same time, I noticed the door crack. The old butler holding phone secretly filming, though he tried to lower his voice. Still couldn't hide excitement. Master and Madam Heaven has eyes. Our young lady really started studying math. Seeing Willow like Grace already dazed into space, about to fall into sweet childlike sleep for the third time, I helplessly said, let's stop here for today. Willow like Grace instinctively nodded vigorously, so that's it. Understood. No, wait. Time's up already. I nodded. Your foundation is too weak. Studying slowly will be better. Willow like Grace relievedly nodded, face full of surviving a disaster. Before leaving, I took from my bag a fried rose. Looking at the rose in front, Willow like Grace stunned. You're giving me a flower. I nodded without embarrassment. The flower shop had a customer cancel order. Had to compensate a large sum. I used Deep's bonus to buy this flower for you. Thank you for helping us last time. Seeing Willow like Grace's complex expression, I raised an eyebrow. If you don't like it, forget it. Willow like Grace immediately snatched the flower from my hand. She blushed. Who said I don't want it? When leaving the villa, dusk had fallen. Under the setting sun, a figure was riding a horse, galloping on the racetrack outside the villa. Seeing me come out, Grace initial pulled the reins, riding over to me. She had outstanding appearance. White riding outfit, neat and fitted, highlighting her ethereal beauty even more. The Deep family not as prominent as the Willow, only considered new power in tech industry, but Grace initial gentle, reasonable, manners proper. The whole school highly regarded her. In my previous life, I was mesmerized by her fake exterior. Agreed to her confession. When Willow like Grace told me it was just a conquest, I didn't want to believe. Until Grace initial personally admitted to my question. Grace initial still smiled gently, but the words were excruciatingly painful. River God, I just realized you resemble my childhood sweetheart a lot. But he was pure and obedient. Not like you, so cheap. Always top of the grade, so what? You're just an easy tantric commodity. If Willow like Grace was naive cruelty, then Grace initial was pure malice. At this moment under the dusk, Grace initial on horseback looked down at me. Thank you for tutoring Willow like Grace. In the future, please take care of her more. I looked up. Without avoiding, stared into her beautiful phoenix eyes. You mean Willow like Grace has bad temper, hard to get along with, so I need to take care more. Grace initial stunned, but quickly smiled. I didn't mean that. At that moment, the reddish-brown horse suddenly neighed, lowered head intimately rubbing my palm. Grace initial showed surprise. Andrew is a purebred Hanover horse. Bad temper. Never intimate with strangers like this before. He really likes you. I sneered inwardly. Hanover horses famous for calm and gentle personality. How could it be bad temper? Of course I understood the meaning of this lie. Like Willow like Grace, straightforward type, easily arousing guard in others. Well, Grace initial was a smart hunter. In my previous life, she used random coincidences to reduce my guard, then through repeated contacts, gradually increased my favor toward her, finally making me proactively offer my first kiss. Seeing I had no reaction, Deep Grace initial slightly bent down, extended her white-gloved hand to me. River God, do you want to ride with me? Deep Grace initial was sure I wouldn't refuse, but she miscalculated. In my previous life, Deep Grace initial used the suspension bridge effect while riding, making me moved by her, thus opening the conquest. But now I just indifferently glanced at her extended hand, suddenly asked, what is that? Rhythm broken. Deep Grace initial's eyes flashed impatience. She withdrew her hand, following my gaze, removed a black iris-shaped hair clip, held it in front of me. I stared at the black clip. I knew! Deep Grace initial's live camera hidden in it. She not only had clever tactics, but extremely steady psychology, daring to directly bring it to my face. Leave comments trembling. Why do I feel Hayes looking at me through the camera? Impossible. The Deep Family's recording device is the most advanced. Moreover, the live forum blocked him. Seeing me intently looking at the iris, Deep Grace initial calmly said, do you like it? If you like, I can give it to you. I shifted my eyes, suddenly smiled, no need. The flower language of black iris I don't like. Deep Grace initial insisted on driving me back to school. Actually, the villain not far from school. Only 10 minutes by car. The trouble was, from here to school no direct bus. Looking at the girl in the Lamborghini convertible sports car, I awkwardly said, you're not old enough to drive. Deep Grace initial smiled, waved her license. Rest assured I passed abroad. So top student River God, do I have the honor to give you a ride? On the way back I quietly studied vocabulary. Live comments became lively. The cold goddess is so beautiful. Top sports car. Wind rushing like flying soon. The car stopped at the school gate. I was about to open the door to get out, but found the door locked. I frowned looking at Deep Grace initial in the driver's seat. Only heard her joke, River God, how are you going to pay for the ride? I took from my bag two crumpled 100 bills, face full of reluctance handing to her, no change needed. Deep Grace initial smiled brightly. Very sincere pity, I don't lack money. She and I silently stared off for a few seconds. Suddenly I tilted my head, slightly dazed. Open mouth, have we met somewhere before? Deep Grace initial, I just realized. Actually, you resemble my childhood sweetheart a lot. Live comments joined noisily. Such a cliched pickup line. Deep Grace initial's gaze at me flashed hesitation. I smiled, adding, but she was dumb and weird. Not like you. Rudely locking a classmate in the car like this. Getting out, I stood beside, smiling brightly, stuffed 200 yuan into the lowered car window, watching the steel beast roar away. The smile on my face gradually faded. In my previous life, Deep Grace initial at the wedding said, the groom's smile resembled mine, making her remember her childhood sweetheart, her first love. She and I from completely different worlds. Couldn't possibly be childhood sweethearts growing up together. So only one possibility. Deep Grace initial in childhood had a childhood friend, and I happened to resemble that person. Already knowing this in advance, I had no reason not to exploit it. So I falsely claimed the title of her childhood sweetheart. Deep Grace initial delicate-minded, suspicious and overthinking. For this type, just throw an ambiguous question. They will seek the answer themselves. And in the process, she inevitably becomes more familiar and understands me more. Repeated contact can increase favor toward a person. This is the mere exposure effect in psychology. Proximity breeds affection, that's the principle. Speaking of which, must thank Deep Grace initial from previous life for teaching me so many tricks. Several months passed peacefully. Every day I went through 3 points classroom, library, cafeteria. Weekends I went to the flower shop for part-time, then tutored Willow like Grace. Each time meeting Willow like Grace, I always brought a Freud rose. Willow like Grace from shy gradually accustomed. I didn't because of previous life matters. Slack in teaching, but patiently carefully organized knowledge for her. In previous life, for refusing to tutor Willow like Grace, I was criticized. Country folks are indeed stubborn. No sincerity at all. Even when I was depressed, grades dropping, Some slandered my previous grades as cheating. This time I won't leave any flaws. Weather gradually turned cold. In a blink, winter with short days, long nights. First semester of 11th grade about to end. Final exam also approaching. Weekend at the private villa. Willow like Grace sat upright at the desk, face rarely somewhat tense. I put down the red pen, grading the paper. This math set you got 63 points. Progress meets requirements. The butler standing by already prepared cheered, then pulled the string. A small confetti cannon from who knows where. Boom and paper flowers and tinsel rain. Willow like Grace pulled me up from the chair, then held my hand, dancing the waltz, spinning nonstop. I was startled, somewhat regretting not reminding her full score is 150. Now the butler quietly withdrew, even thoughtfully closed the door. I was spun dizzy, lightly tapped Willow like Grace's head. Stop fooling around. One more spin and no flower today. Hearing that, Willow like Grace stuck out tongue. Stopped acting obedient. I was wrong. Shouldn't tease you. Next time I won't dare. My flower quickly reward me. I raised eyebrow looking at her. Handed the rose to her. Willow like Grace took the flower. Mischievously smiled. Tricked you. Next time still dare. Final exam approaching. I became busier and busier. In the library, I was reviewing next semester subjects. Suddenly someone pushed my shoulder. Looked up. I saw a short-haired, round-faced boy. He blushed. Handed a pink envelope to me. He said, "River God, can you help me give this letter to Deep Grace initial?" I frowned, didn't take it. This guy named Li Yuan, like me, entered school on grades. Outstanding student in previous life. He was one of the few not joining the conquest. Leave stream. After I died, he learned the truth, even wrote a denunciation letter for me. Pity. The letter just sent was blocked by the Deep family. Didn't cause any waves. Seeing me silent, Li Yuan quickly explained, every weekend you go tutoring. Always Deep Grace initial drives you back. So I want to ask you. I bluntly refused. Sorry, I can't help. Li Yuan stunned. Expression puzzled. Why not? Don't tell me you also like Deep Grace initial. Words just out. Surroundings immediately quiet. A few bold classmates started sneaking glances at me. I glanced at the corner not far. Several cameras on the ceiling. Then shook head at Li Yuan. Anyway, no. Li Yuan straightforward kind. Surely can't fight the scheming Deep Grace initial. I didn't want him to repeat my previous life mistake. But because live cameras everywhere, I couldn't say the truth. Only hoped he knew to retreat. Li Yuan stamped foot. Forcefully stuffed the pink letter into my hand. If you don't like Deep Grace initial, then help me. River God, thank you. Looking at his running back, I expressionless tightly gripped the love letter in hand. After the love letter incident, Willow like Grace's attitude toward me suddenly cold. Normally she could send me hundreds of messages a day, math problems, emojis, even meaningless ramblings. But now, Willow like Grace had been silent for a whole week. My study pressure heavy. I liked this quiet. Naturally didn't think to proactively find her. If I could see the live comments, would discover audience started lighting candles for me. Feels this couple about to break. Pity I just recharged 9 rockets. The rich young lady really minded that love letter. Just gave flower to council school young lady. Yet jealous threw away others' love letter to campus belle. Isn't this twotiming? Saturday afternoon. I arrived on time at Willow like Grace's villa gate. Rang the bell but no one opened for long. I took phone to message Willow like Grace, but saw red exclamation blocked. I frowned, rang again. 10 minutes passed. Still no one opened. Though I didn't understand feelings much, but knew this was unwelcoming sign. I turned to leave, but behind a suddenly clicked door opened. A cold female voice come in. I entered the villa. Willow like Grace was lazily leaning on the living room sofa, casually controlling the game controller. I was ignored standing there. One game ended. Willow like Grace finally deigned a glance at me. Still no to come find me. I thought you never planned to explain. I was somewhat bewildered. Explain what? I came to tutor you. Tutor? Willow like Grace sneered. We haven't talked for so long. I thought the top student had forgotten to tutor me. She casually threw the controller, stood up grabbing my wrist, roughly dragged me to the second floor study. We rushed into the study. Willow like Grace slammed the door. I staggered a few steps before speaking, was forcefully pushed by Willow like Grace onto the desk. Amid the mess, I in a pitiful pose, lower back hit the desk edge. Immediately anger flared, but Willow like Grace didn't restrain. She propped hands on the desk beside me, closing in on me. I was forced by her to lean back. In heart unbearably angry, Willow like Grace, what are you crazy about? But the next second, Willow like Grace grabbed my chin, roughly kissed over. I was shocked. Reflexively slapped. Slap the slap resounded. The study returned to silence. Willow like Grace slowly turned her face back, eyes glistening with unbelieving tears. She gritted teeth questioning River God. You tell me, why did you throw away the love letter for Little? I took a deep breath. Willow like Grace. We are just a hiring relationship. I tutor you. You pay for my time and knowledge. Besides math problems, I have no obligation to explain anything to you. Willow like Grace stared at me long, suddenly laughed maniacally. Hiring relationship. Every time you come, always bring me a fried rose. This is hiring relationship. I looked straight into her eyes. As you wish. This time I didn't bring flour for you. Willow like Grace narrowed eyes. What I want explain. Just repeated. This time I didn't bring flour for you. Willow like Grace's flowers are just rewards. If you don't want, then this time none. In future also none. Meaning, in future no need to find me for tutoring. Willow like Grace unwilling. She stared at me, trying to find on my face any sign of sulking. But seeing my expression still calm, she finally coldly laughed in the end. You from the start only for money. Turns out with money can buy everything of River God. Right, very good. I have piles of money. You outstanding students. Probably not even as good as the well-bred horses in my family's ranch. Slap this lab I used full strength. Willow like Grace from childhood pampered by family. In school also the little princess calling wind and rain. When had been slapped twice in a row by someone. She lowered head, hair disheveled, lower lip bitten white, clearly angry to the extreme. When the atmosphere was about to explode, the study door suddenly knock twice, then opened from outside. The old butler, full of sweat, carrying a plate of cut fruits, tremblingly spoke, young lady, River God, eat some fruits. I pushed Willow like Grace away, picked up bag from floor, walked out. When leaving the study, behind rang Willow like Grace's shrill threat. River God, today you step out this door, don't regret. My steps only paused a moment, then striding away, while going down the stairs, I heard the sound of tables and chairs being kicked over from the second floor. At the same time, Liv comments scrolled faster than diarrhea. The plot just now was cliched but addictive. River God is truly brave. Two slaps echoing throughout the villa. Deep Grace initial leaned against the door frame, smiling brightly, looking at me. So fought with Willow like Grace, huh? I already told you to take care of her more. Her collar was empty. The black iris hair clip, where the camera was hidden, nowhere to be seen. I didn't intend to pay attention to her gloating, but Deep Grace initial reached out to block me. She suddenly asked, don't you have a pure and obedient childhood sweetheart? Why still go teasing others? A toteming guy will be punished. At this moment, I finally noticed her unusual tone. In my heart suddenly arose a guess. I stared at her. Li Yuan's love letter was arranged by you. That's right. Deep Grace initial lightly clapped, eyes shining with excitement. Her expression thrilled, like playing the most interesting game in the world. I knew that guy liked me. I sent someone to hint to him. He could ask you to deliver the love letter to me. This is easy. After all, you are the outstanding student closest to us. Right? I almost laughed from anger. So what is your purpose? Just to make Willow like Grace hate me. At this time, Deep Grace initial tilted her head, leisurely fiddling with the ruby ring on her hand. I want you to tell me all the stories about you and your childhood sweetheart. For example, did you come to Noble Academy England effort because of her? She was forcing me to prove my identity myself. I kept my face unchanged. Today my mood is not good. Don't want to answer. Also hope you understand deep grace initial. She smiled gently again fine. But I believe there will be a day you kneel begging me to hear the answer from you. On the school forum, deep grace initials live screen always dark. Everyone gathered to watch Willow like Grace's live. All shocked at Willow like Grace's level of anger. Both sighing and mocking me. They guessed this live hunt would end soon because Willow like Grace despised me. At this time I just returned to the dorm, suppressing emotions. Opened the review notebook again, forcing myself to continue studying. New week began. Willow like Grace and I continued the Cold War. I was the discipline committee member this week, responsible for organizing this swimming test. After the test ended, I intended to close the swimming pool, but suddenly heard laughter inside. I hesitated for a moment, opened the door again. In the swimming pool, several students gathered by the pool, both boys and girls, but all dressed exquisitely, clearly all rich and powerful kids. And in the pool, the round-faced guy shivering repeatedly, diving down one after another, as if searching for something. The leader on the shore sneered Li Yuan. Hurry up! This watch costs millions on the market. If you can't retrieve it, you have to compensate. Because the swimming test had ended, the indoor pool heating program had stopped. In the freezing water, Li Yuan hugged his arms, face pale. Han Sun Vast sorry. No, Han Sun Vast coldly interrupted. Told you to retrieve then retrieve. Aren't you trying hard to cling to Goddess little? Like being a licking dog that much? Then this young master gives you the chance. Han Sun Vast liked deep grace initial. Almost an open secret. Him making things difficult for Li Yuan was not strange. Li Yuan had no choice. Only dive into the freezing water again, just hoping to retrieve the watch, so this crowd would let him go. Seeing this scene, I clenched my fists. This school, full of untouchable young masters and ladies. They could arbitrarily decide the future of other students, even teachers. Perhaps at this moment I should turn away. After all, Li Yuan had nothing to do with me. I couldn't even take care of myself. Previously helping him block the love letter could be considered fulfilling righteousness. But looking at Li Yuan's humiliated face, I remembered my scene before death in previous life. At that time my scholarship was cancelled. School card also in debt. A penny stumped a hero. No one willing to lend me money. I could only often go out for part-time, living on to steamed buns a day. That day, after barely completing the swimming test, I received a call. Learned parents passed away. I hid in the changing room, first time crying until hoarse. I was in pain, yet told myself to persevere. Even if fate teased, even if suffering piled up, my will enough to cover the sun, I would continue fighting in the darkness. I wouldn't surrender. I must live on. When leaving the swimming pool, I glimpsed by the pool a shining coin. I turned back to pick it, but slipped and fell into the winter pool. Though I swam very well, but at that time I was hungry and cold, exhausted. Before the moment of suffocation, I still desperately reached toward the water surface, craving a sliver of hope to live. At this time, Li Yuan still non-stop diving to find the watch, while I, expressionless, took out my phone, sent a location to Deep Grace Initial. The other side quickly replied, "Oh," preparing to kneel begging me, "Ha." I ignored, but placed the phone on the nearby chair, then loudly to the crowd by the pool, "If want to retrieve things, can find the pool manager to drain the water. No need to bully people like this. To drain water must let the person in the pool up first." Li Yuan just climbed out of the pool. Han Sun Vast suddenly pointed at me. "Push him down." Several thugs immediately rushed over, tied my hands, pushed me in front of Han Sun Vast. I knew I couldn't resist, only could delay time, so didn't struggle uselessly. Han Sun Vast grabbed the hair at my nape, forced me to lift my head. He looked at me for a while, then sneered, "Not that handsome." A poor guy daring to anger. The untouchables. Where do you get the guts to defend others? Someone came forward to mediate. No need to fight, dirty brother Vast's hands. Han Sun Vast nodded in agreement. He turned to Li Yuan. Now you come over slap him twice. The watch matter will be dropped. Li Yuan stunned looking at him. Mouth agape no reaction what? Hearing this dirty trick. I couldn't believe narrowed eyes. Han Sun Vast even more excited. He added condition if you beat him to cry. Beat until he wails begging. In the future, in school we won't make things difficult for you anymore. Li Yuan was pushed in front of me. He trembled like a sieve. Trembled more than when soaked in cold water. Weaver eyes met. Then I heard his trembling voice river God. Sorry, sorry. Slap when slap fell on my face. Han Sun Vast laughed loudly one more. Don't play tricks. Hit hard. Slap another slap. I was hit tilting my head. New glasses also fell to the ground. Han Sun Vast turned my face back. With regretful look. What to do he doesn't cry or make noise. He tilted head smiling at Li Yuan give you another chance. Push him into the pool. Reward still the same. Li Yuan looked at me eyes trembling. Han Sun Vast urged why not move. Still want to die for the watch. So I watched Li Yuan full of tears. Step forward raise hand. Then push me hard into the pool. Han Sun Vast satisfied. Release Li Yuan to leave the pool. The pool to meters deep. I had to continuously paddle to keep nose and mouth above water. In the freezing water, I heard Han Sun Vast order. Since Li Yuan left, then you replace him to retrieve that watch. I didn't obey. Expressionless staring at him. Someone sneered still arrogant. They pulled chairs over. Leisurely sat by the pool. Without retrieving the watch don't dream of coming up. They on the shore laughed and chatted happily, while my body gradually lost heat. Like this. The one exhausted first, surely me. I couldn't sit waiting for death. So under everyone's gaze, I closed my eyes, slowly sank into the water. This action very unexpected, because it was closing time. By the pool, only one light on. I knew under this dim light, those on the shore absolutely couldn't see clearly objects underwater. In the freezing water, I heard the laughter on the shore stop completely. Then Han Sun Vast's cold laugh. I want to see how long it can hold breath. Half a minute. Han Sun Vast unconcerned what could happen. It passed the swimming test. Could it drown? 1 minute Han Sun Vast stood up. Shouted by the pool river god. You immediately come out for me. Here or not. 1.5 minutes the crowd on the shore panicked. Amid the commotion, I heard someone lower voice don't say anything else. The live camera is still running. If those two young ladies haven't played enough, wouldn't we? Han Sun Vast roared desperately. This isn't my fault. I just wanted to teach it a lesson. While I quietly underwater, under the dim light of the pool, slowly swam toward the shore. I looked through the rippling water, identified people on shore, preparing to find opportunity to act. Pull a few down to soak in cold water with me. Before choosing. Suddenly heard splash loud as someone jumped in. A figure rushed into the water, waves surging, water bubbling tiny bubbles. When I hadn't reacted yet, that figure quickly swam to me, grabbed my hand, pulled me swimming to the surface. Sound of water breaking rang out. Willow-like Grace and I surfaced together. Just out of water, Willow-like Grace immediately pressed close to me. Her whole body stuck tight to me, bent down checking my breathing. I pushed her hand away, coughed a few times and fine. Water drops flowed down my hair to face, like icy tears. Scared me to death. Willow-like Grace tightly gripped my pushed hand, fingers slightly trembling. Your hand cold to no temperature. Goosebumps all over. I tried to pull hand back. Hand not yet pulled. I heard footsteps from far too near. Looked up, saw the arrival was Deep Grace initial. She arrived late. At the same time, Willow-like Grace glanced at Han Sun Vast and those people. Though Willow-like Grace soaked, still exuded strong overpowering aura. Han Sun Vast and crowd trembled under her gaze. Lowered heads. Willow-like Grace's eyes finally stopped on Deep Grace initial. She coldly said, Deep Grace initial, manage your dogs well. After Deep Grace initial led the crowd away from the pool, Willow-like Grace looked back at me. She placed my hand on her cheek, voiced somewhat aggrieved, if I don't proactively find you, you will never find me. I pushed Willow like Grace let go. I need to change clothes. Winter uniform slightly thick. Wet then cold and heavy. But she refused to release. Willow like Grace's voice, due to stuffy nose, sounded like whining. Today I learned a history lesson. I inwardly cursed crazy, but had to listen to her continue craziness. She said teacher talked about Eastern Europe Soviet collapse. Then what she said Cold War ended. She hugged my arm tight River God. Cold War ended. Let's make up okay. Changed into dry clothes. I intently looked at the watch. Then stepped out of the pool. Willow like Grace and Deep Grace initial both waiting for me at the gate. Honestly, I didn't expect Willow like Grace to come. I just knew it was Li Yuan. Immediately ran to find Willow like Grace. Begged her to save me. Thinking of soaked Li Yuan. Pitiful back running out of the pool. I lowered eyes slightly dazed. Li Yuan was tricked into pushing me down, but after escaping tried hard to seek help for me. So I don't blame him. But if I forgive Li Yuan, should I also forgive Willow like Grace and Deep Grace initial? At this time, Willow like Grace saw me. She stepped over, tiptoed, wrapping scarf around my neck. Deep Grace initial beside also spoke asking, "Do you want to go to the infirmary for check?" I looked at them. Suddenly, eyes slightly red. Willow like Grace flustered. "What again?" I seriously looked at them. Softly said thank you. I didn't expect you really came to save me. I know I'm a country student. Not fitting with you. Actually, I always feared you looked down on me. But why are you so good to me? Hearing this, Willow like Grace stunned in place. Expression momentarily blank. While I lowered head. Placed a light shy kiss on her cheek. Liv comments silent a moment, then exploded. Watched live half semester. I actually don't hate the outstanding student anymore. He isn't Tutoring. Just afraid the round-faced guy bullied because of love letter. River God actually very good person. Really no one thinks this Liv. And that bet too much. At this time public opinion finally completely tilted toward me. Willow like Grace dazed for long. Then blushing rushed into my arms. She slightly shyly said, "You originally very good person. No one will treat you badly. Why so cheesy?" Really annoying, I pretended. Shyly buried face in Willow like Grace's hair. But corner of mouth couldn't help curving up. Finally waited for this act. Forgiveness just camouflage. The weak victim only can occupy moral high ground. They approached with malice. Wanted to lure me to reveal ugliness. Then break my pride. Making me covered in mud. So I will make them witness with their own eyes my pure soul. I want the whole world to see their belly full of evil, only exchanged for my flawless sincerity. Until the truth revealed, who will be the one looking ugly? Who will become the biggest joke? I almost couldn't wait anymore. In previous life, I drank ginger tea, lay on hospital bed pretending sleep. When about to fall into dream, I heard outside the bed curtain footsteps of two people. Someone carefully pulled the curtain. I heard Willow like Grace lower voice chase asleep. Deep Grace initial softly replied yes. A hand placed on my forehead. Seeing no fever, both retreated outside the curtain. I pretending sleep also felt awkward. Intended to pretend wake up, but suddenly heard Willow like Grace softly say that bet. I don't want to continue anymore. Leave on forum. I stopped the prize. I was the first to lock this live camera. Return to you, Deep Grace initial silent a moment. You like him already. Willow like Grace frankly admitted. After final exam is the England Effort School Anniversary Gala. I plan to confess to River God at the gala. Deep Grace initial's voice slightly trembled unrecognizably. If he doesn't agree, what then? Willow like Grace unconcerned. Confidently said River God already kissed me. In this beautiful family background top. Moreover, in future it'll be very good to him. Deep Grace initial interrupted her. But if River God already has someone in heart, what then? Willow like Grace's voice suddenly cold. Deep Grace initial, I know. You previously investigated River God. Whatever you found. This matter stops here. What shouldn't say keep in stomach. In exchange, the West City Project. Deep family can start preparing. Finish the last final subject. I stepped out of the exam room, Willow like Grace waiting for me in the hallway. Seeing me out, she hurriedly stuffed the scribbled draft into pocket, then smiling brightly ran over. Before I could speak, the girl chattered like beans. All problems I could do I did. Hard ones I couldn't. I wrote solutions. Even copied the questions. Surely enough to pass. Willow like Grace's eyes sparkling. Said you once said if I pass final math, will grant me one wish. This still counts. Seeing me nod, she smiled radiantly. Then I want you to come to the villa with me. Today, I barely invited my dad's styling consultant. You get to benefit too. That afternoon, Willow like Grace handed me to the styling consultant, while herself blushing ran away. Said to keep secret for tonight's gala. Makeup changing clothes I was tossed all afternoon. Then driven by the old butler to the gala hall gate. Tonight first snow falling. I wore high-end suit stepping out of car. Bell on the hall tower rang. 7 p.m. Gala began. Everything perfect. As if fate arranged. I ignored the astonished gazes around. Just stepped up. Entered the hall. At the ancient solemn hall gate, I saw Deep Grace initial in pure black gown. She held champagne glass. Smiling looking at me. Tonight you very different. I said thank you. Deep Grace initial seemed to have drunk quite a lot. Breath rapid. Cheeks flushed. She stared at me. Unexpectedly spoke sorry. I stunned expression puzzled. Why apologize? Deep Grace initial softly said for everything. I looked at Deep Grace initial very long, until she shyly turned away. I then laughed. I said Deep Grace initial. Nothing to apologize for. That time at the pool I sent location to you. You also came immediately right. And about those words you said before. I know you just wanted to scare me. To force me to give you an answer. Deep Grace initial shook head sadly. That answer no longer meaningful. Go and she prepared a surprise for you. She made way for me to enter the hall. When passing her, I secretly pinched myself hard twice. My cheeks immediately flushed. I smiled shyly. Softly said to Deep Grace initial you once asked me. Was it because of that person I came to Noble Academy England effort? I want to tell you, at least it was. In this world true words not many, but a youth's blush worth more than 1,000 confessions. Finished I without hesitation left. Behind someone softly exclaimed. Goddess Deep Grace initial couldn't hold the champagne glass. When I entered the hall, lights gradually dimmed. Amid everyone's gasps, hall stage lights turned on. Willow like Grace in splendid pearl white long gown. On chest, pinned a shining rose. Appeared on stage. Her bangs combed back formally. Looking noble and dignified. Willow like Grace held the mic. Voice gentle. Lately I often dream of a person. Him when studying hard. Him when hero saving beauty. Even when annoyed by my teasing frowning while teaching. Everything about him deeply attracts me. Making me unable to help but moved. Her words full of love made the audience buzz. Even some moved covering mouths. At the same time, several spotlights shone on me. Through the crowd, Willow like Grace stared at me. Freud, the language of roses. Is you accidentally passing my dream? Turning my heart into fragrant garden. You have wandered in my dream too long. Now can you come to my side? River God, I like you. Be my boyfriend, okay? At that moment, rose petals fluttered everywhere. Like a beautiful illusory dream. Classmates' eyes urged me to agree under the lights. I blinked. Slightly nervous open mouth, but before speaking, harsh static noise rang throughout the hall. At that moment, large screens on for walls started flickering playing video. First scene at stair corner. Willow like Grace looking at my leaving back. Frowning annoyed cold. This country bumpkin want tutor. How can I conquer him? Wait, let me ruin his part-time. See if he dares disobey me. Scene switched to second. Willow like Grace holding Freud rose. Excited yet disdainful, he gave me a flower. Wait and see. 3 days it'll take him down. Scene switched again. Third River God. Today you step out this door, don't regret. Screen shook violently. The filmer smashing things in anger. What is he? Daring to show attitude to me. lowly coexisting day and night. Wait until I conquer him. Win the bet, if not mess him up, I don't have Willow's surname. The clips fast-forwarded, full of malicious comments hitting eyes. Under everyone's gaze, my face gradually paled, while Willow, like Grace on stage after moments done, started shrieking, "Turn it off. Turn off now for me." But all her anger vanished seeing my self-mocking smile. Willow, like Grace's expression, blank a moment, then striding toward me, "River God. Not like what you see. I can explain." I stepped back half step. "Don't come near." One action said it all. At that moment, Deep Grace Initial stepped out from the crowd, blocked in front of me. She lifted her dress, whole body elegant, graceful. "Willow, like Grace," he said, "don't come near." Willow, like Grace, looked at her, expression gradually darkening. "It's you these live clips are you're doing." No, Deep Grace Initial didn't answer, but emphasized again, "Willow, like Grace. He rejected you." Response was a slap from Willow, like Grace. Amid everyone's shocked gasps, Willow, like Grace hit Deep Grace Initial to the ground. "Friends for years. You know how much I like him." Deep Grace Initial held swollen cheek, pitifully fell on the carpet, but corner of mouth still smiling. "But you also know, if I just say that thing." Willow, like Grace grabbed Deep Grace Initial's hair. "Shut up." Her voice icy, expression ferocious. "Deep Grace Initial, how many illegitimate children in your family? If I turn against Deep family, you will immediately be kicked from air position." While they tore at each other, video on for large screens continued playing. Scene switched to betting collection interface. Background sound, Willow, like Grace excited voice. "Grace Initial, let's make a live prize pool. All prize from Conquest Live. We'll go into this pool. Everyone can bet. Bet when that country bumpkin will give first kiss." At that moment, screen showed enormous prize pool. Total 5 million. Names of bet participants scrolled. Like a grand public trial. The hall dead silent. Almost could hear a pin drop. At this time, Deep Grace Initial's smile finally stiffened. She muttered, "This clip, not me." Screen showed winners' bet time. 1923. Crowd whispered suppressed. Someone sighed, relief to humiliating. "Lucky I didn't bet then." Someone unbelieving, somewhat scary. Time precise to second. Who thought of this? At that moment, final secret revealed. Screen showed winner name, River God. My name! Countless eyes poured on me, while I stood under the lights. Finally smiled sincerely. Willow, like Grace and Deep Grace Initial's faces pale. They looked at me unbelievably. "River God." I smiled lightly, waved at them, bet then accept loss. "Remember transfer prize to my account." Finished. I turned without lingering, left the hall. Back to dorm, I curled in warm blanket. Looking at message, 5 million entered account. First time after Rebirth, I felt relieved. Outside window, not only snow falling, but also faint rose scent. I knew below the dorm building now. Willow, like Grace, sitting beside the convertible full of fried roses, painfully waiting for me to appear. She cried until hoarse, from sorry to regret, even swearing not to repeat, while I unblocked her number. Sent towards noisy. Few seconds later, world finally quiet. 2 a.m. midnight. Snow falling thicker. I couldn't sleep, simply reviewed, but suddenly saw. Outside window exploded a brilliant firework. Willow, like Grace, no longer calling, but persistently shooting fireworks. I drew the curtain, put in earplugs, turned off light to sleep. Don't know how long slept. I was awakened by violent knocking. I removed earplugs. Immediately heard below dorm noisy. A girl fainted. Call ambulance. Quick, call ambulance. In the private hospital room, Deep Grace Initial and I sat beside Willow, like Grace's bed, looking at unconscious Willow, like Grace on bed. Deep Grace Initial suddenly spoke, "River God." I thought very long. Even if lose Deep family air position, I still want to tell you. I cut off her confession without mercy. You really strange. Looking at the beautiful girl in front, I asked the question long wondered. Clearly even basic respect haven't learned. How can you shamelessly stand before me, pretending to be infatuated with me? Deep Grace Initial's face immediately bloodless. Silence very long. I intended to stand up, pour water, but sleeve suddenly pulled. I turned, saw Willow like Grace on hospital bed, though eyes still closed, eyelids already red. She awake, firmly gripped my sleeve, softly said, "Don't go, okay?" I removed her hand, tucked the blanket, indifferently said, using self-harm to beg forgiveness. Really very stupid. At this time, hospital room door pushed open from outside. Old butler led a middle-aged couple luxuriously dressed in. Willow parents. Father Willow looked at pitiful Willow like Grace on bed, almost angry to tremble. "Kid, look at your worthless state. You want to scare dad and mom to death." Mother Willow, after all, controlled worrying on face. She pained stroking Willow like Grace's hair, then turned to me. "You are river god, right? Can you talk to 1-1? Seeing me nod, Willow like Grace tried to sit up from bed. Her eyes red, trembling, held Mother Willow's hand. "Mom, help me persuade him, okay? I never liked a boy like this. Mom, I beg you." In the VIP hospital room, Mother Willow elegantly handed me tea. She said, "River god, everything my husband and I know all. The live matter they too much. Your reputation ruined. Willow family will compensate." Mother Willow gave two choices. She sipped tea, gently looking at me. "Many say true love only can sprout in rich families. This somewhat biased, but not without reason. Little Grace from small very protected. She can be naughty, stubborn, but nature not bad." Mother Willow observed my expression, considered saying, "First choice. Willow family will send you two to study abroad. You no need worrying cost until graduation. If both agree, can marry." Must say Mother Willow very smart. With Willow like Grace's personality, forcing separation, US, only make her rebel more stubborn. So she wanted me to stay beside Willow like Grace. Thus she even offered condition she thought extremely attractive, married to cross class. I very touched. Then quickly asked, "Then second choice what?" Mother Willow smiled, "You don't like little Grace?" Hearing this question, I lowered eyes. Long after softly answered, "Perhaps. But I will never be with someone who once deceived me." Mother Willow silent a while, then like a gentle elder, patted my head. "River god, you very smart. Listen to 1-1's advice. Stay beside little Grace. Even if you leave now, this hunt won't end. A youth full of love hate, once stubborn, will crazily chase you lifetime." Her eyes deep. "You sure then you can bear all consequences?" I placed the cool tea down, calmly looked at Mother Willow, and forgot one thing. Few years later, when they find me, I also no longer the me. Now I will be stronger. Stronger than all of them. Finally, Mother Willow agreed. Bear compensation for me to transfer school, and use connections. Secretly send me and my family to a small southern city. Before leaving, she adjusted my coat. "Good child, 1-1 promises. Before your 20th birthday, no one will find you." When I left the hospital, snow still falling, I not lingering the warmth behind, but calmly stepped into the dark, windy, snowy night. Between heaven and earth, only wind blowing, snow covering my head. Don't know walked how long. I only felt when snow gradually smaller. Looked up, saw sunrise in the east. Brilliant light.